On the one side tonight, we have Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, is national spokesperson of the BJP and political advisor to Rajnath Singh. And we also have on that side tonight, we have Prem Shukla, executive editor of Dopair Ka Samna, so the BJP and Shiv Sena points of view. I'm delighted to have, I think for the first time on the Newshour tonight, Professor Mridula Mukherjee, the very respected professor of modern history at JNU, one of India's preeminent historians. Professor Mukherjee, welcome to the Newshour. Thank you very much. I look forward to your active participation in shows to come as well. Sanjay Jha represents the Congress point of view, and Aslam Ghoni is a former Advocate General of the JNK, previously associated with the National Conference. The last time he came on the program, he said, don't call me a National Conference spokesperson. Tonight, I am making that clarification. Thank you very much. Now, Sudhanshu Trivedi, you know, the problem is, why does Amit Shah play politics over national icons? I mean, you are now in power. Why are you playing politics over national icons? Dr. Trivedi, you may want to appropriate the legacy of Sardar Patel to yourself, but why do you have to do so by pitting Sardar Patel against another of the country's founding fathers and the first Prime Minister of India, whose contribution to strengthening of Indian democracy is unquestionable? I mean, what do you gain by saying if Patel had been there and Nehru had not been there, then we would have not lost out part of Kashmir? What is the relevance at all, Sudhanshu Trivedi, of that kind of argument? Maybe you'd want to begin by clarifying that point before we move on.
No, actually, there is a phrase which is used. If you try to forget the history, then the history destroys you. As far as the context in which Sri Amit Shah has spoken, I would like to point out one more point. There are so many boundary disputes in so many countries across the world, and even during the post-Second World War era. But the Kashmir is the only issue in the world in which...
No, but why do you blame Nehru for it? No, why do you blame Nehru? What you have said today, Amit Shah has said, it's historically wrong. I can ask Professor Mridula Mukherjee to come in.
No,
sir, historically it is wrong.
No. Let me complete the sentence.
You can't blame Nehru, no, sir.
This is the only dispute in the world,
sir, but
in which the powerful and bigger country moves to United Nations.
Sir, but you can't say...
Otherwise only...
Sir, but कोई factual basis तो हो. Trivedi ji.
India has moved to the United Nations.
Mr. Trivedi, let there be a factual basis for your argument.
It is the only reason that the state belonged to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The Junagadh was not a problem.
Sir, please.
Bhopal was solved.
Sir, don't twist
Hyderabad was solved.
You're twisting
But the only problem was the state in which Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has taken interest.
I'll tell you.
And the result is
no, you're wrong. Prem Shukla can explain.
No, Arnav, I don't think he knows his history.
Prem Shukla would also like to come in
He doesn't know his history.
Would you like to accept that historically wrong? You know, you can make a political point, but your history should be right. Now, I'd like to share one point with you. And maybe then you can tell Sudhanshu Trivedi, before we open up the debate, you get Mridula Mukherjee as well. Historically, you admit, politically, Amit Shah may have made the point that if Patel had been there, Kashmir would not have been. Historically, it is wrong. You are aware of that.
I think this is not so.
Why?
In 1946, when Maulana Azad gave name of the Vice President of the Viceroy's Council, that name was of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and Maulana Azad wrote that I was not able to give the name of Sardar Vallabhai Patel because he was dealing with hard handle with the separatist movement people. This is the Maulana Azad written in his...
Amit Shah makes a very strong... No, what is Amit Shah says? Amit Shah... Was Amit Shah wrong or not? No, what does Amit Shah say? Amit Shah says... No, Amit Shah says even today...
Just to justify that point.
Amit Shah says even today...
Just allow me to give one to historical evidences.
Amit Shah's allegation...
Because you challenge it historically...
Yes, it is wrong historically. I'm telling you Amit Shah is wrong historically.
Trying to give my side of story.
But let me explain to you why it's wrong.
No, you can explain me.
Amit Shah is saying that even today...
But the first thing, there was a...
He's wrong historically and is politically unethical.
In the working committee of Congress, larger section
don't
was
twist
favor... No, I'm not misquoting the history.
You are twisting. You're not misquoting, you're twisting.
They were for Sardar Vallabhai Patel.
So it is not Patel versus Nehru, Patel versus Nehru all the time.
Mahatma Gandhi negotiated a deal that Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru will deal the foreign affairs.
So what are you doing to our country's history, sir?
Domestic affairs.
I'm very sorry.
And that is the reason he was given to unified 300 states.
I don't understand.
Princely states.
I don't.
And there was only a princely state.
I don't.
Was to be annexed to India.
I don't know
and
this.
That charge was given to Pandit Nehru. This is what the side of history Amit Shah is saying. You can correct. You have gotten that right.
Repeatedly, see what did Modi say? That if Sardar Patel had been first Prime Minister, not Nehru, India's history would be different. Now Amit Shah says if Sardar Patel had a choice and not Nehru, then all of Kashmir would have been with us. Now I think I'll get Mridula Mukherjee because I must factually get a couple of points here. My information is there was a bill for the separate constitutional provision for the state of Jammu and Kashmir was made by Gopalaswamy Iyengar in the Constituent Assembly. Sardar Patel, in response to him in the Constituent Assembly, said Kashmir has a special problem and therefore we are creating special provisions for it. This is Sardar Patel said it.
And that temporary provision.
No, Sardar.
And he's saying temporary provision.
No. Okay, Professor Mukherjee.
That's right.
Let Professor Mukherjee come in.
What are the minutes of the Congress working
Professor
committee
Mukherjee, now you
go
walk.
for that.
Okay, you walk straight into a big political debate. What's the reality?
Can I just clarify two things first? Number one, I think it's very important to state clearly that Sardar Patel was in charge of the integration of the Indian states. He succeeded in all the states except three: Junagadh, Hyderabad and Kashmir. So it was not that somebody else was in charge, and if Sardar Patel had been there, he would have managed to get the whole of Kashmir into India. Now this is prior to the Pakistani raid on Kashmir. Then comes the question of the attack on Kashmir. Now once the attack on Kashmir happens, and as you know, that is not even 3 months have passed since independence. First the tribesmen are sent in, and then from Delhi, VP Menon along with Sam Manekshaw as a very young officer land up there, and they go and meet Hari Singh, and Mahajan is his Prime Minister. It is the agreed opinion of the government of India that they must first get him to sign an instrument of accession before the Indian army is sent in. Otherwise, on what legal basis will the Indian army go there? And don't forget that in both Pakistan and India, it is the British officers who were still in charge of the armies. And Mountbatten was still the Governor General. So it's a very complicated situation. You can't have a romanticized, current BJP version of history and just go on talking about it as wishful thinking. I mean, these are just hard facts. After that, let me also emphasize that the entire military operations, the entire defense and military operations were overseen by Sardar Patel. And he had a complete free hand. That they could not push back the tribesmen and the Pakistani army, and a line of control as it exists, an armistice happened, is also a matter of the ground reality of what India could do at that time.
I think today...
So I think we need to get these three things very clear.
Even on that issue, Sardar Patel was advising in the cabinet against taking the Kashmir issue to the United Nations.
I think you're mixing things up. Now you're getting very confused.
And at that time,
she's responding to you.
When to United Nations?
Later.
No answer was. Yes, Mridula Mukherjee.
And, okay. The issue of taking the matter to the UN comes later. Now here there is scope for, I think, a debate and discussion whether Nehru was right, whether Nehru was wrong. I mean, so many books have been written on it. There are lots of people who believe that there was nothing wrong with what he did. There are some people who believe that it was not the right thing to do. But it's not a matter of condemning Nehru one way. But let me clarify one thing. After some time, once the condition that was laid down was that only, well, if people keep shouting, I can't speak,
I'm not shouting.
I can only say that once it was clear that the condition which was laid down was that forces would withdraw and then a plebiscite would happen, Nehru said very clearly, sorry, no plebiscite in Kashmir. It was he who went on, and then the elections were held and the assembly passed a resolution, integration with India. And the Article 351, which came in the There was no difference of opinion was that. Let me tell you, Sardar Patel was more than willing to make any number of concessions to the princes, including privy purses, privileges, in order to get the states on board. So it's not as, he understood that integration was a very complex process. It's just as Modi understands today that talking to the Chinese is a complex process. You have Chinese troops coming in 5 kilometers into India and we are feeding and feasting them. That's diplomacy. That's foreign relations. It's complex. It's not simple.
I think the point is well made. I don't know if the BJP and the Shiv Sena representatives will retreat from the argument tonight. But, you know, you can't look at life in terms of binary opposites. BJP, Congress. Your dynasty is, you are the Gandhi dynasty. Now we are going to create a Patel dynasty. There appears to be a blatant politicization because you're pitting Nehru against Patel, Nehru against Patel. You take Nehru to take a jibe at the dynastic politics of the Congress, but that's fine. But why do you use Sardar Patel? Sudhanshu Trivedi, why do you use Sardar Patel to score a political point? Sanjay Jha, let's get the political debate started. Sanjay Jha, please.
Ashram, and you...
Sanjay Jha, Sudhanshu Trivedi is quiet. I think he's concerned.
I just want to make one point, and I'm reading out and I'm telling you how Amit Shah...
The person who said Nehru would be my successor is Mahatma Gandhi.
Sanjay Jha, I think we start the political debate at this point. Sudhanshu Trivedi of the BJP appears to have conceded the debate. He's quiet. Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to quote for you, Arnab, a letter written by Sardar Patel to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in October 1947. And I'm quoting you exact words. No difference between you and me on matters of policy relating to Kashmir. If Mr. Trivedi wants, I can repeat that again. It exposes once and for all the distorted, disingenuous lie being said by Mr. Amit Shah, seconded by Mr. Trivedi, and obviously uttered by Mr. Modi as well. The second critical point that we need to accept here on this debate, that you have Amit Shah who went to jail on fake encounters for killing Indian citizens, commenting on a man who went to jail for several years fighting the British as a freedom fighter for the people of India. I mean, you can't make a debate politically so unethical just because you want to score cheap political points. I want to make another point here on your debate, that end of day, this is an attempt to vitiate a political environment. These are founding fathers. Sardar Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru were freedom fighters. They may have had differences on some issues, but the RSS was banned by Sardar Patel for creating a vitiated atmosphere.
We're not talking about that now. Though Mr. Trivedi can respond if he chooses to.
Sweets.
Mr. Trivedi can respond if he chooses
Mahatma
to.
Gandhi was assassinated. I mean, is this the kind of politics we need in India? And I want to make one more point, even on the issue of the Kashmir issue going to United Nations. At that point, in the circumstances that prevailed, the belief was that a plebiscite will go in favor of India, subject to Pakistan withdrawing from the areas that it had illegally occupied. But Pakistan never withdrew. The plebiscite never happened because the belief was that Sheikh
But you're also looking at it in a one-sided way. No, you're also looking at it in a one-sided way. You're also looking at it in a one-sided way because what is Amit Shah says? No, Amit Shah makes 2 points.
And Article 370, as Mridula rightly mentioned, as Mridula rightly mentioned, Article 370 was shepherded by Sardar Patel both in the Constituent Assembly and with the Congress Working Committee.
Yes.
And if the BJP
don't speak half-truths.
Sardar Patel, Sardar Patel was a man of his...
Don't speak half-truths.
If he did not believe in it, he would have never agreed on it.
Sanjay Jha,
please cut out this absolutely nonsensical...
Sanjay Jha,
why Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar denied to draft Article 370? Just, I want to need an answer. The chairman of the drafting committee of the constitution, late Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Bharat Ratna Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, he denied to draft Article 370. What was the reason? Please clear it.
And Sanjay, beyond that, even Nehru said in 1963 that the gradual erosion of Article 370 must continue. And the problem with sometimes being spokespersons is, Sanjay, and I don't know how you're going to take this, that, you have to push half-truths with complete conviction. What you are uttering today is a half-truth. Yes, Amit Shah may have been wrong on the fact that, you know, on dividing Nehru and Sardar Patel on the question of whether Kashmir would have been one or divided.
BJP, let me tell you, why don't you follow the Prime Minister's speech on Independence Day from the Red Fort? He mentioned all the leaders. He did not mention Pandit Nehru. The BJP manifesto mentioned everybody, did not mention
that your
Pandit
complaint?
Nehru. Because you see,
So
they believe that there is a political war to be fought with the Gandhi family. This party is so intellectually defunct, they will distort history.
Sudhanshu
for real
Trivedi,
politics being played
I
at the
think
current level
Sudhanshu
in
should
Indian
reply.
politics. That is the hard reality.
Aslam Ghani
which
raises
cannot
his
be
hand. Yes, Aslam Ghani
And
first.
I want to remind one
Aslam
last
Ghani
point.
first. 1 second,
Please
everyone. You
remind
can't take all the time.
Sudhanshu
Sanjay Jha,
Trivedi
1 second.
what
Let
Atal
Aslam
Bihari
Ghani come in now,
Vajpayee
please.
said in Parliament in 1964
Let Aslam Ghani come in now, Sanjay
about
Jha,
Pandit
please.
Nehru.
Aslam
Why
Ghani
don't you
raised
ask
his
him
hand.
What were the glowing tributes paid by... No, 1 minute.
Your
Ask him
1
this
minute
question.
goes on into 10 minutes,
Ask Sudhanshu
Sanjay.
Trivedi this question. Does
Please.
he not know what Atal Bihari Vajpayee said in Parliament?
1 second. Aslam Ghani raised his hand. Can he? Yes, Mr. Ghani.
No, we are passionate about this subject because this is an attempt. This is an attempt to derail and distort history. We have to be passionate about it. We have to fight it tooth and nail, Arnab. You don't expect me to be like with you, like in every other debate. This is a serious issue.
Yes, certainly it is. Yes, Aslam Ghani.
So what do you want? You only want to speak yourself and not allow any other person to speak. If it is so, then you carry on along. I'm just, you know, I also need some time to say something, otherwise just not to see your face and listen to you. See, Arnab, it's really a unfortunate situation. In given circumstances, the BJP's latest history writing procedure has been probably, you know, worst kind of befooling attempts made to befool the people of this country. Today, if somebody says, you know, weighing Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, I am not talking as any political representative of any political party, weighing Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru with Patel, the scale has already been drawn 67 years back. The things are very clear to you. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's history is not hidden from anyone. What kind of person Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was and what was his contribution to this country. Today, if a person like Amit Shah comes in and challenges in totality the existence of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, has got guts to say that it was better that if it was Patel who would have ruled the country and Jammu and Kashmir would not have been any problem. It is really something very dramatic to say. They are expert in dramatizing the situations, and unfortunately we have many people who do not have any occasion to see the historical facts of this country. In that situation, what happens is that they succeed in misleading the people in one or other way, but ultimately what is coming out today is yesterday's results are showing that, you know, in some way...
No, we're not discussing the bypoll results. But Sudhanshu Trivedi,
No,
we're not discussing the bypoll results. Don't deviate. No, 1 second. Now I'm going to stop you. I expected tonight that Sudhanshu Trivedi would be prepared with a counter. 1 minute. 1 minute, Aslam Ghani. 1 minute.
I want to
Listen, please. Let me complete, Arnab. I know you got little worried about what I am going to say further, but let me complete it.
Mr. Aslam Ghani, I'll come to you in a bit.
You know,
I'll come to you in a bit. I want to get Sudhanshu Trivedi to see if he has a singular factual response to Sanjay Jha. There are points Mridula Mukherjee made, there are points Sanjay Jha made. Mr. Trivedi, answer historically. Now the ball is in your court.
Yes. Now I am answering one by one historically. First, my question to your learned panelists is whether we won the 1948 war or not. If you are saying not, it means you are going against the established fact which the Indian Army and then the government of India has accepted. Number two, if you accept that we were winning the 1948 war, what was the logic of going to United Nations and asking for whatever plebiscite and other things? I want a clear-cut answer, not going into the details of the history. Second thing,
Yes,
as Sanjay
yes,
Jha
I
was
will
saying...
answer you
Okay, one point,
quoting a
point by
letter
point,
that
point
there
by
was
point
no-
rebuttal. Sanjay Jha
Let
is
me
responding to
complete
that.
the sentence. This is not fair. You all were speaking for so long
Respond
and I was
point by
listening
point.
patiently.
Respond
As
point by
Sanjay Jha was
point.
saying, he was quoting a letter that there was no difference of opinion on Nehru and Patel.
Arnab, let
And
me
I would also
respond to
like
him.
to quote, as per
Let me respond to him.
as per the book of P.N. Mathai, the private secretary of Mahatma Gandhi, he has said just few days before the assassination of Gandhiji, he was planning to have a meeting between Patel and Nehru to sort out the differences on certain issues. Is this fact or not? It is also written in the document. Third thing, if you are saying that we are blaming Nehru for each and everything, yes, of course, from Kashmir to Tibet, what he has taken a stand on China. Today the problem of Arunachal Pradesh because of his policy, and from there itself, whether it was Ram Janmabhoomi issue, it is because it falls in the state of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Somnath was in the state of Sardar Patel, so it was solved. So every problem in which unfortunately Nehruji has taken extraordinary interest, it has entered into extraordinary problems.
You know, this is again,
the fact.
I let
in the
Sanjay
last
Jha
67
respond,
years.
but
And
I
finally,
let Sanjay Jha respond,
even the
but
economy, the Nehruvian model was finally being left by the Congress government under Narasimha Rao and
I will let
1991.
Sanjay Jha respond, but the fact of the matter remains, if you read Kuldeep Singh Bajwa's Jammu and Kashmir political and military perspective, then you will read there, the fact of the matter remains that Nehru had anticipated the threat from Pakistan that you talk about in September 1947. Okay, 1 month after our independence, when India was negotiating with Maharaj Hari Singh of Kashmir to sign the instrument of accession, he had communicated this to Sardar Patel on 27 September 1947. And he had also said that signing the accession was an urgent need to preempt a Pakistani invasion. So Nehru was well aware of the warning signs and had communicated it to Sardar Patel. Now, if you have a counter to that historical point, present it now. Sudhanshu Trivedi. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong now. Prove me
One
wrong,
fact
Mr.
which you are
Trivedi.
missing.
Can I answer?
Yes,
that
Mr.
Jawaharlal
Trivedi,
Nehru.
prove me wrong.
Yes, Mr. Arnab Goswami, let me complete my
Yes, please
sentence.
prove me wrong. Go ahead.
Jawaharlal
Don't get
Nehru has
angry.
not become Prime Minister
I am
of India
presenting
on
a historical
15th of
point.
August 1947. He became on September 1946 as Prime Minister of Interim Government. And I would like to ask to the historians and also to the Congress people, when Sheikh Abdullah was leading a movement against Maharaja Hari Singh, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister of the interim government under British rule. I am talking before 15th of August 1947. Has he not intervened? Has he not taken the side of Sheikh Abdullah?
Okay,
This was
counters.
one of the
Who's
major
answering
reasons
that? Who's
Maharaja
answering
Hari
that?
Singh
Mridula
was
Mukherjee
having
or
some
Sanjay Jha?
apprehension about
Okay,
the
fine.
signing the
Who's
accession
answering that?
document.
No, one second.
So if you want to
Who's
go into
taking
the
that?
facts,
Arnab,
go into the
No, one
proper
second. Let
facts.
Sanjay Jha answer and then Mridula Mukherjee
I
after
will
that.
answer that.
No, one second. Mridula
Mr.
Mukherjee
Trivedi,
wants to
if you
answer
keep
that. One
quiet,
second.
we will answer
Professor
I will
Mukherjee
answer
first.
that.
Professor Mukherjee is countering the BJP
Yeah.
tonight. Go ahead. No, let her.
Yeah,
Let her.
go later.
Yeah,
Let her. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me explain that the manner in which the integration of the princely states took place with the rest of what was then British India was that there were popular movements in a large number of the Indian states. These popular movements had always a good relationship with the Indian National Congress, even though they were not led officially by Indian National Congress, but by various Praja Mandals in various states, and there were different names. In Kashmir, it was the organization led by Sheikh Abdullah, and by the way, a very radical, pro-tenant, anti-landlord, anti-Maharaja organization, just as there were many other such. And yes, indeed, Jawaharlal Nehru had great sympathy with that, and rightly so, because these were the anti-princely organizations, including in Gujarat.
No, but Mridula
and
Mukherjee,
everywhere
no,
else,
Miss
in
Mukherjee,
Rajasthan,
Professor
in,
Mukherjee.
Every
Hyderabad.
state there are popular
Let me
movements,
clarify.
but
Let
no
me
one was
clarify,
allowed to
please.
interfere
Let me clarify.
into the annexation process.
One second. Let her complete. Let her complete. Let her complete. Let her complete.
Sheikh
By
Abdullah, what was the reason?
processes.
Let her complete.
Please, it was not a force. Let me clarify. Please let me clarify. It was not a forced integration from above. It was a combined integration through popular forces from below and forces from above
Mridula
once
Mukherjee.
India was about to become
Mridula
independent.
Mukherjee. No, one second. Mridula Mukherjee. Professor Mridula Mukherjee.
That is why.
Just a minute. Professor Mukherjee.
That is why the people of Kashmir are with India.
Professor Mukherjee.
Yes.
With respect, it has been proven that Jawaharlal Nehru often got his strategic issues wrong. He did not read the situation with the Chinese well in the early 60s.
This has nothing to do
No. I'll give you an example. Now, Professor Mukherjee, you are an academic of tremendous eminence. I have huge regard for you, but I do retain the right to make a counterpoint and get your response if required. Yes, Sanjay, I'll come to you, please. Let me have a friendly quarrel with Mridula Mukherjee on a historical issue for a change. Everything in the world is not black and white Congress BJP. Though you are trying to make history also Congress BJP nowadays. The fact is, Nehru delayed the signing of the instrument of accession. Because he insisted that there must be a popular interim government with Sheikh Abdullah in place. So Nehru claimed the situation is urgent. And he wrote that letter to Sardar Patel in September 1947. But a month on, he was telling the Prime Minister of Kashmir to wait on signing the instrument of accession before an interim government was to be put in place. So Nehru at the same time did not put up adequate measures to preempt a military invasion. So you saw what was going to happen, but you did not. If you have foreseen a possibility of something happening, it is your responsibility to act and not delay the action. Professor Mukherjee. So there is a certain amount of responsibility that Nehru has to take on himself.
Let me let me clarify. In most places in India, what happened was that due to the popular pressure which was exercised on the princes, it's that popular pressure which pushed the princes to signing up the instruments of accession. Now here in Kashmir also, it was not a different strategy being followed. Popular pressure was not counter to the instrument of accession. It was meant to push the princes in that direction. Now here we have a clear situation, just as in Hyderabad, where the Maharaja or the ruler had ambitions. They thought they could remain independent. And by the way, if you read Mirchand Mahajan's autobiography, who was the Prime Minister of Kashmir, he makes this very clear. He was the person who was there, who was persuading the Maharaja.
I'll quote. What does the BJP quote? Professor Mukherjee, let me take it further. I want to get in. At this stage, I want to go back to Sudhanshu Trivedi. What does the BJP quote? The BJP's allegation is that Nehru, based upon an interview given by Sam Manekshaw, was reluctant to send troops to Kashmir. So why should one not believe that Amit Shah's views, which have become controversial today, and that of his party, stem from what Sam Manekshaw recounted about a meeting on 24th October.
I have read that interview. I have read that interview.
So have I.
I have read that interview. I can quote it to be verbatim.
I'll quote it to you.
There is nothing. No, he never says. Manekshaw does not say that Nehru was reluctant to send troops to Kashmir. He says Nehru, as usual, was talking about the whole world. And Patel said to him, "Do you want Kashmir or not?" And he said, "Of course I want Kashmir." And the troops were sent. This was only a matter of his usual talking about everything. That was Nehru. He talked about everything to everybody. That's a personality thing. It's got nothing to do with strategic understanding.
It gives a difference in approach. You see, once Sudhanshu Trivedi wants to counter you now.
Nowhere in that interview does Manekshaw say that Nehru hesitated.
No, it proves that, one second, what that interview proves, Professor Mukherjee, and yes, Sudhanshu, I'm coming to you. The interview seems to suggest that Sardar Patel, more than Nehru, saw the urgency to act militarily in Kashmir. Patel saw the urgency to act militarily in Kashmir and repel the Pakistani invasion.
Not always is it politically and legally wise to rush. I think Mountbatten and Nehru correctly advised Patel, let's get the signature first. Otherwise, we would have been in trouble for endlessly, that we had no legal right to be in Kashmir. Please think about those implications. These were international issues. Britain was still involved in all this.
What now? Sudhanshu Trivedi is countering you. Professor Mukherjee
are important.
Professor Mukherjee, interesting debates, extending it by 3-4 minutes. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Why did Patel...
On this issue of China, going just beyond a single conversation between Manik Shah and Nehru, I would like to ask, after the independence of China, none of the country was ready to accept them. Why Jawaharlal Nehru went ahead and India became the first country? In 1955 Bandung Conference, Jawaharlal Nehru went to the extent that he will boycott that summit if the China is not invited. And India was the first country to accept the occupation of Tibet by Chinese.
So what's wrong with that?
So it was not a Himalayan bender, it is a consistent series of events.
No.
That's why what Mr. Amit Shah is saying is purely based on historical facts. Either it is on the side of China or on the side of Pakistan or from the side of Kashmir or up to the Ram Janmabhoomi issue.
Well, gentlemen, this debate can continue for a long time. Sanjay, I know you raised your hand. You can have a quick counter and then I'm wrapping up.
Did he refuse to take in the Tibetans?
Yeah. Arnab, I want to make a point on your channel, provided
did he throw him out? Where is the Dalai Lama?
And when he takes the Tibet in, I would like to quote Atal Bihari Vajpayee at that time has said कि चीन से दोस्ती भी है और दलाई लामा को शरण भी दे रहे हैं. यानी ये कौन सी विदेश नीति है
Jammu and Kashmir
कि दोस्ती भी है और दुश्मनी भी है.
Jammu and Kashmir by sending our troops on the day immediately after the signing of the instrument of accession. There would have been no Jammu and Kashmir had Pandit Nehru and Sardar Patel not made sure that our troops ended to save Kashmir.
No, one second.
Who was sent by Pakistan to ravage Jammu and Kashmir. I think we should stop distorting history. And let me make the second point to you.
आज की पॉलिसी ये नहीं है कि तिब्बत चीन का है और दलाई लामा हमारे.
I think ladies and gentlemen, one second. I propose tonight, given the amount of interest and passion that has been generated in this debate,
lie being spoken by the BJP.
that we should have a part 2 of this whole debate because, because whatever, we are too diverse a country.
Yes, we should.
We are too diverse a country. Can I have my one line, please? Too diverse a country to look at our history in binary black and white Nehru and Patel terms. I think we need to move beyond that. But let us have a proper detailed discussion on it. I have enjoyed this debate, and Professor Mukherjee, we've enjoyed having you as a participant. We're going to take this forward. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Sanjay Jha, Prem Shukla, Aslam Goni, as well as Mridula Mukherjee, thank you very much for joining me on that debate on the Newshour tonight.